In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the valve cover on your Kia Sorento located under the hood. Let's get started. We're going to start by removing the fuel pump fuse, which is located on the driver's side front of the vehicle. We're going to go ahead and remove the lid. We're going to locate the fuel pump fuse. And that's gonna be, if we count this, it will be the third one. It's a 20 amp fuse. We're gonna go ahead and pull that. Turn the vehicle on and let it die on its own. That means there's no more fuel pressure, since we're gonna be removing the high pressure pump that's located on the valve cover. Next up, we're gonna go ahead and remove the engine cover. Simply pry in the front, pry in the back, and now you're able to get it off. Using a pair of needle nose pliers, we're gonna go ahead and remove this hose. Simply pry back on the hose clamp. Grab the hose, wiggle it side to side, and pull it out. We're gonna be doing the same on this one. Move it out of the way. Now we're gonna go ahead and take off this foam. Simply grab it and pull it straight up. Using a small screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, we're gonna go ahead and take the coils out, or the connectors. I'm gonna go ahead and pry on the tab, being very careful. I'm gonna do all four. And now we can go ahead and unplug them. Once we have every coil unplugged, we're gonna go ahead and use a 10mm socket and remove the coil bolts. Go ahead and pull the coils out. Simply pull up. Now we're gonna go ahead and unplug the fuel pump. Simply pry on the tab and pull the connector out. Using a metal pry tool, we're gonna go ahead and open this line. Before we do so, we're gonna go ahead and put a rag underneath. There will be some fuel coming out of this. This will just catch the residue. We're gonna go ahead and pry on it, being very careful. Put a little bit of pressure, press in, and slide it out. Using a 19mm wrench, we're gonna go ahead and loosen this line. We're gonna go ahead and put the rack underneath it. Get the line loose. Go ahead and take the knot off. And now using a 10mm socket, we're gonna go ahead and remove these two bolts. We're gonna be very careful with this. We wanna take them out little by little. So basically, we're gonna rotate them half a turn on each side. This is so it comes out evenly. remove the bolts. And once you have the bolts removed, simply move the pump a little bit to the side, holding on this line so we can get it off of here and lift up. We're gonna go ahead and remove these two lines right here using a pair of needle nose pliers. Go ahead and move the hose clamps. Wiggle the hose out. And do the same to this one. Using a 10mm socket, we're gonna go ahead and loosen this pipe so we can move it up and get to the high pressure pump line. We're gonna go ahead and loosen it. Do not take it completely out. Just get it loose. And now we can go ahead and move the pipe out of the throttle body. Simply wiggle it and take it off. Now that we have that out, we can simply grab this and move it up out of the way. Just like that. We're gonna go ahead and remove this 10mm bolt that holds the high pressure line onto the head using a 10mm socket. We're gonna go ahead and remove that bolt. Once you get it loose, take it out. Using a 10mm socket, we're gonna remove these three 10mm bolts. Now we can go ahead and move all these harness out of the way. Using a 10mm socket, we're gonna remove this ground wire. Move this harness out of the way. Using a 10mm socket, we're gonna remove all of these bolts around the valve cover. Simply get them loose. And I'll take them off. We have these two 10mm right here in the center. I'm gonna go ahead and remove those. We're gonna remove these two. Now we're gonna go ahead and remove this one. Now we're gonna remove the rest. And now we're gonna go ahead and remove this last 10mm bolt. Now that we have all the bolts off the valve cover, we're gonna go ahead and tap it slightly with a mallet, being very careful. This is just to kind of break the seal. Using a flathead screwdriver, we're gonna start the corners. We're just gonna lift it a little bit. We're gonna do the same on this side. Wanna lift up slightly, making sure we didn't miss any bolts to avoid causing any damage. Now that it's loose, we can just go ahead, lift it, and move it out of the way. Now we can remove the old gasket, being very careful not to get any of the debris that's around the engine. Go ahead and peel it off. Grab a rag and take all this debris out. We're gonna use a rag and a little bit of brake parts cleaner. Simply spray on the rag and wipe off any surface where the gasket makes contact. We want to make sure this is clean off debris. Before we install the new valve cover on, we're gonna do two things. One of them is inspect the valve cover gasket and make sure that it is in the grooves all around. Make sure you check each corners and in the center. Another thing that's very important to do is we're gonna grab some gray RTV and we're gonna put some on both of these corners, only of these corners. And I go ahead, put some here, and on this side. We want to give that about 10 to 15 minutes so it gets tacky, and then we're ready to install it on the vehicle. Now we're ready to install the valve cover, being very careful. Keep in mind these two corners have RTV on. Simply line it up. And once you have it lined up, push down on it. And now we're ready to reinstall our bolts. Go ahead and start the bolts in the center. For now, we're just gonna put them by hand. We're gonna go all around the valve cover. Simply start them by hand. Now that we have all the bolts in place, we're gonna go ahead and get them snug. Now we're ready to torque down the valve cover. We're gonna be using the manufacturer specified sequence to 8 foot-pounds. This will be number 1, number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and lastly 18. Now we're ready to install the high pressure fuel pump. Simply slide it in place and line it up with the holes. For this, we want to make sure that we start the bolts by hand. And it's very important when we snug these, we're going to be snugging them evenly, half a turn at a time. So I'm going to go ahead and bottom out the bolts on both sides. And once you start feeling resistant, you want to stop. And do the same on the other side. Now we're gonna go ahead and snug them. Like I mentioned, make sure when you do this, you do them side to side. Do not tighten one side first. It will crack the housing for the high pressure. Once both of those are snug, now we're ready to torque them. Now that we have both bolts bottomed out, we're gonna go ahead and torque them to 11 foot-pounds. Now that we have the high pressure pump in place, now we're ready to install the harness back onto the valve cover. Simply loop it over, line it up with these holes, start the bolts by hand. Now we can go ahead and get these 3 bolts snug. Now we can install the ground wire, line it up with the hole, start it by hand, and snug it up. Now we can go ahead and install our coils. Simply line them up with the holes. And start the coil bolts by hand. We're gonna be getting those snug. Now that we have the coil bolts snug, we're gonna go ahead and torque them to 9 foot-pounds. Now we're ready to plug in the connectors for the coils. Slide it in and make sure we lock them by pushing on this red tab. We're gonna do the same on all 4. And lastly, we're gonna connect the high pressure pump. Make sure when you do this, you hear a click. If you don't hear a click, you can tug slightly and make sure that it doesn't come off. Now we're ready to put this line. Simply line it up. And we're gonna start threading it by hand. Now we're ready to torque it to 24 foot-pounds. Now we can go ahead and install this line. Simply slide it in place and give it a little tug. Make sure that it's set. Now we can go ahead and install this hose. Slide it in and put the clamp back in place. And now we're ready to reinstall the bolt that holds the high pressure line onto the head. Go ahead and start the bolt by hand. Now we're gonna go ahead and snug it up. Now we can go ahead and install the intake pipe to the throttle body. Simply slide it down. Line it up with the throttle body and slide it in place. Now we're gonna go ahead and get it snug. This we do not have to tight that much because it's only holding a plastic piece. Once you get it snug, remove the tool. And we're ready to install the hoses out to the pipe. Now we're gonna go ahead and install this hose. Simply line it up and push it in. Make sure that you bottom it out. Now we can put the hose clamp back in position. Now we can install this hose. It goes from here to the valve cover. Simply slide it in and do the same on this side. Go ahead and install the clamp back in position. Do the same over here. And now we're ready to install the high pressure fuel pump cover. Simply slide it in place. Now we're gonna install the engine cover. And for that, we're gonna line up the grommets with the valve cover. Simply place it in place and push in. Now we can go ahead and reinstall our fuse. Remember, it was the third one on this side, so the one missing. Simply put the fuse in place, slide it in, and install the fuse cover. Now it's important to know that when you go ahead and start the vehicle, it's gonna have an extended crank, which is normal. The vehicle has to prime all the fuel back up. After you do that, you wanna check for fuel leaks. And that's job done.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.